Hey everybody, no new episode of Q&A Composers Unplugged today because Chris is unfortunately under the weather with strep. So here's hoping he feels better so we can get back. In the meantime, here is a bonus episode recorded maybe about a month ago with Fei Yu, a music supervisor and music editor that I've worked with plenty of times. In this episode, she actually conducts the questions. So hope you enjoy. Thanks. Welcome to a bonus episode of Q&A Composers Unplugged. Today we have Fei Yu here as a guest. She is a music supervisor and music editor that I've worked with many a times on films and games. How you doing, Faye?
I'm doing great. It's just like we talked about this yesterday through the phone.
Yeah. So do you want to? So Faye, since Faye is our guest, I'm going to put her in charge of the first couple questions.
Yeah. So we actually just did a movie together, Blades of the Guardians.
Blades of the Guardians. Yeah.
And it did really well in China and also worldwide. And we did, there's a lot of like combat scene and also a lot of like fighting.
A lot of action.
Action music, something like that. So I do want to talk a little bit like, like when you start with some of the thing like that, then how you, how you started to having your ideas and make it, like not always like the
constant.
Like a constantly driven and nonstop and makes you feel tired for
right, which it can be very exhausting.
Yeah. Because actually we do having one of the comments from the previous music, which director is not really happy with because of the once you started with drum and you cannot stop.
Right.
At all.
Right.
But you want to having the impact, that kind of feeling for everything, and that's some of the skills.
Yeah, I mean, I know in this film there is a lot of sound effects during the action sequences, the sword fighting, the hitting, and they're very pronounced, and I believe that was an intention for this film.
Yeah.
So when writing for it, I think it happens with every film. You need to take that into consideration.
Yes.
And it happened that the fight sequences in this film were actually, I don't know if they were purposely done to a tempo, but they fit perfectly to music tracks.
Yes.
So when writing it, I tended to let the clashes of the swords and the hits be part of the music or be the music with odd syncopated hits here and there with taikos and other percussive elements, and sometimes with an underlying ambient tension.
Yes.
And then in certain parts of the fight, when it turns tides, you come in more with the music and more percussion, and then once the action starts again, you sort of let the sound effects speak for itself.
Yeah.
So, and I thought the idea of having the fighting sounds in that certain tempo, like I don't know if that was on purpose by the director, but it worked so wonderfully.
Yeah.
It actually helped, and it also breaks up the intensity of the music, because that can definitely grate on you during a 5-minute action sequence. Because you keep on, you start off intense, you don't have much left to go.
No.
Once the fight goes on and on, by the time you get to the end, it's just a wall of noise if you have to keep on making it intense. So backing off early I think is the way to go with these type of action sequences.
Yeah. And also there's a lot of dialogue.
Yes.
In between.
Yeah, you have to leave room for that.
Yeah.
Because I notice a lot of times the entire track will come down. Rather than massaging the music, it's better to, as the composer, duck during those moments and not play through them. Yeah.
And also, we mentioned about the dynamics in between as well. It's also super important. And also the groove is one thing that really...
Right. I mean, I think the groove is set you know, I mean, you have the tempo, but you have to have forward momentum, and that's all depends on how you add the rhythm to the sound effects and the sword fighting. Because there's laid back rhythms and then there's forward momentum rhythms.
Yes.
So it's how you apply those rhythms to keep it moving forward and not feel stagnant.
Yeah, and I guess it starts from actually not exactly starts from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but because they use a lot of taiko and Chinese drum,
Right.
big traditional drums in there. For the bamboo fighting scene or whatever,
Right,
that
right.
kind of things. So that's why everybody started to use the drum.
Right, those elements, yeah.
Yeah, those elements into their fighting scene, especially for the Chinese ancient that kind of type of movie.
Right.
But they really noticed once they started the pattern. It does make it more intense, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard for them to stop that pattern.
Right, and I think that's where with Blades of the Guardians, I think that's when introducing the traditional orchestral elements of it can take over some of the driving rhythmic aspects of the scene. Rather than constantly relying on the percussion, you can have, the low strings brass doing stabs, so I think blending the traditional instruments into that along with Chinese instruments helps break it up, but keeps it going.
Yes, exactly. So it's kind of like from the whatever the melody side or the orchestration side, it's just like taking over back and forth.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's
and
just
trying to shape it more like a picture-wise.
Right, exactly.
How to giving some different color.
Right, and essentially what the job is to do is score to the picture.
And especially because for that thing we having Jet Li in there, so we do want to.
There has to be some weight to it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And also we mentioned about one of the other fighting thing that we having the people, I mean the younger character, the actors in there, and we end up using Suana for.
Right. Wait. What scene are you talking about? The beginning of that scene?
Actually not the beginning, but for the fire fighting.
Oh, that scene.
Yes.
Right. Oh, right. That one was an interesting cue. Should I bring it up?
Yes.
Okay. We're back with headphones. We have the scene Fei was talking about. I'm going to play it. And did you want to preface the scene with anything other than this is not the final, so it doesn't have the live suono. How do you say suono? Suono?
What?
Exactly. What's the instrument? What was the live instrument you recorded for this?
Suana.
Suona. Suno, suona.
Suno.
Sorry.
Yeah, suana.
Suona. Those sword hits were all in time. So the Swana did a heck of a lot better job than, well, not heck of a better job, but sounded way better than the flute.
It just sounds
It's more
different.
it's raw. It's nasally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yes, because we mentioned about it, said we want to having something fun
Yeah.
for this sequence.
Right. That's where the heavy metal stuff came in. And,
Exactly.
Right. I think the sauna fits the cue a lot better than the.
And because I mentioned that the movie gonna be released during our Spring Festival time.
Right.
And we're always using this traditional Chinese instrument, for celebrating.
Right.
this-
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's the
Yes,
the chosen instrument.
exactly.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yes, and so that's why we were thinking about, yes, we want to try something, like more different.
Right.
And I was a little bit afraid that our director won't accept it.
Really?
And because he is also, a little bit afraid, is that too much?
Oh.
Is we bring too much color
Oh, yeah.
to the character. But at the very end, like everybody just thinking about, is just having some fun.
Right.
And so we decided, but we do having the option 1 and option 2, one with the bamboo flute,
Right.
and the other one with suana.
But the bamboo flute probably was too soft, right? I don't remember hearing that.
It's
take.
just like an elegant way.
Yeah. No, this one definitely called for. Now, obviously, when I wrote the part, I wasn't writing for that instrument. Was the range okay for that instrument?
Yes.
Like that's right within its range? Yeah.
Yes. But we do try some different way, like different, like improv things.
Right.
And especially I also bring the guzheng player.
Yes.
And also pipa player.
Okay.
And so 3 of that instrument were together, and like they all trying their different way how to shape the sound, but just bring some authentic and bring some Eastern Chinese like flavor to the cue.
Right.
But at the same time, because there is so many, again, we always talk about this, like there's just so many fighting parts for this movie. And some of that is more serious, and some of that is, final fighting.
Right.
Combat thing. But in this part, because it's around Reel 3, so it's kind of in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, so it's neither set up or final.
Yes. And so that's why we want to bring some of the, joy.
Right. There's got to be fun parts to
Exactly.
it. Yeah. I mean, all kung fu is fun.
Exactly. And so they show off and for all of this cool parts. And I was just thinking about, it's just having some of the moments and having some of the parts that just really, brings out for everything, just highlighting this thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's why we finally decided, okay, we're going to using suana.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you that's the Chinese trumpet. Do you
remember? Is it? Is that? Yes, right.
But it's just like, I'm going to show you that picture that she brings so many different kind of shape for suana. So each one is different key.
Oh, there's different lengths and stuff?
Exactly. Some of that is, more higher pitch. And
are there not, there's holes on it, yes, for note changing, but it sticks to a certain key.
Yes. And so there's all of the different kind of keys, and she just brings all of the suana.
That's cool.
in her pack, and then just bring it to the studio, and we just trying some of the different keys and also different kind of things. But because you already wrote the melody in there, and we just trying to. The player is really awesome, and she just trying to interpret a little bit in the suana
to the instrument. That makes sense. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's definitely one of the fun part that we want to. That's also one of the things really important for the kung fu movie, that you need to define something. Like sometimes you want it to be more serious, and sometimes you just want to having a little bit more joy. You cannot be having the combat music, serious music. I mean, all the way through.
Well, this definitely wouldn't have been a good spot for normal action, because they're almost on the same side.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's true.
having this type of music behind it to make it more fun, I think is the smart way to go for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why at the very beginning we always thinking about, okay, does the rock and roll, that kind of style, is it gonna be too much or? But
I think it's a nice balance of the guitar and
Yes.
the traditional instruments.
yeah.
But until you get to the end where the whole drum beat comes in,
yes,
then where everybody's just banging their head.
exactly. But we do having a lot of fun for doing this project in a really short time.
Yeah, it was quick.
1.5
1.5 weeks, right?
weeks.
To
Yeah.
write the action music.
Yeah, and just
No
few
problem. No problem.
days, and just few days for the mixing. And
Yeah.
like
Of course, I don't want to take all the credit for the additional music. We have Stuart,
and-
Michael Thomas,
Yes.
and Stefan Thumb.
Yes.
We all came in and lifted a heavy load and got it done
Yeah, exactly. At the very last minute.
at the very, very last minute. But happy to do it.
Yeah, but
I wish I could have done the whole film.
it turns out really well. And
Cool. So it will, or it is going to be released, or it is released here in the U.S.
it's already released in here.
Really?
Yes.
On streaming or select theaters?
No, select theaters.
Why are they? Oh,
Yes.
so is the other one in select theaters, Per Aspera, but no theaters near here.
No.
No, they're down where I was
But
for
that
the
was
baseball
during
games.
the Spring Festival time.
What's that?
It's during the Spring Festival time, which is around February.
Right, but
Yes.
they're not. They don't put it in theaters. I don't know whose choice it is. I don't know if the theaters are the ones that bid on or pay. I have no idea how it works. But yeah, all the smaller movies. Not that this is small, but other smaller movies I've done. They're never in within. I mean, they're within driving distance, but it's like, okay, you got to pack up for the day.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like really, like culture exchange is really important.
Yeah, that's true.
Thing, and we really want to. That's why because kung fu movie, like we always thinking about it's gonna be the breakthrough. Thing
Right.
For that, and we really want. This kind of genre and also this kind of things This movie so far is ranking number 2 for the Kung Fu movie
Wow.
around the world. And we just hopefully it will be even getting better.
Yeah.
I really want, more people can see this type of, we don't call it Chinese movie, but we see this as, like international.
Right. It definitely is. I mean, you just have the potential audiences who have issues reading subtitles.
Yeah. But I was just really happy because when I show this movie to you guys and, everybody's really excited.
It looks beautiful. I mean, it is
And
shot
it's just so much
amazing.
fun
I mean,
in there, too.
all three Chinese films I worked on are just amazingly shot. It is just, I mean, so just
Exactly.
looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I'll work on it.
Yeah, but I was just also really, proud.
Yeah.
To show this to everyone. For me, it's really like a culture exchange things. that
Right.
We share different ideas and we, share our own culture things.
Mm-hmm.
And we just explain and our different ideas.
Right.
And we all love, what we bring it out. I still remember for the decoded,
Mm-hmm.
that you bring the sound.
Right. The more of the traditional,
Yes.
sound to the
Yes.
story.
And it's it's really cool, and we also bring some of the the coding sound.
Oh, right. Yeah. The sort of math behind the
Yes,
music type of
yes,
stuff. Yeah.
exactly. Like I love all of these ideas.
Yeah.
And-
it makes the music interesting and ties it
Exactly.
in even better.
Exactly, and that's the part I don't think AI can replace it. Because like all of this kind of ideas when we work together and based on all of your more than 20 years experience, and that's all comes out.
Right. And I mean, at the base of it, AI is just going to put together what is out there already. It's just gonna what do you call it? Aggregate everything. Think it's spitting out something new, and it's really not. And yeah, I mean, do you want to dive into the whole AI thing?
Yeah. And now I do want to talk a little bit for the AI.
Okay.
Because there is a lot of people that they really worried about it, that their job gonna be
Yeah, first one of the cameras just
Back
shut off
again.
for some reason. Okay, we were talking about AI, and what I was going to say, I think, with my knowledge, First of all, I haven't dove too much into AI, but as far as tracks being produced by AI, I think the first industry that's going to be hit the hardest is the advertising industry.
Yes.
And people who do
library
library
music.
tracks. Yeah.
Yes.
But I am very good friends with a composer songwriter who does tons of library tracks. And the amount of specific revisions he has to do,
Yes.
and the amount of versions he has to spit out,
Yeah.
lengthwise, stem-wise, I don't think AI is capable of that yet.
But soon.
But you never know.
Yeah, but
You know.
because do you still remember 2 years ago when we were doing Decoded?
Right, when we needed to sample.
the song.
Yeah.
And then I used the AI vocal.
Yeah.
And it's
Just
I
for
didn't-
temp,
just
not
for
in the
temp, just for
final.
temp. And I didn't tell you guys.
Right.
It's a real person.
Yeah, we couldn't tell.
But at the very end, I told you guys like is AI.
I forgot the software, but yeah, it's
Singer.
now. I mean, Cubase has singer AI now that you can write in melodies and type in words, and it sounds really good for free inside. Well, not free, but I mean it's in the software now.
Yeah.
And I used it just as a test, and I was like, "This is scary." And I think it's
Yeah.
great as a tool, but not as a final version. It's
Yes.
great to get your idea across as where you want things. Like I think it will. Like if you hire a singer and play back
Yeah.
this, it'll
Yeah.
shorten the amount of time between a first version and
And the
a final accepted
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
It'll give the singer more of an idea. I mean, you don't want to pigeonhole the singer into do it this way. Obviously, you want the singer to add their own inflections and their own ideas. But I think it helps in that aspect.
Yes.
But people who end up using, and I don't know anybody that does yet, but I'm sure there's plenty out there who use it as a final element in their mixes. That to me is frowned upon. I don't think it should be done. I think it should be
But
used as a tool.
But that's what we talk about because we want to use, like AI as a tools.
Yeah.
And so we're having the win-win situation for everyone, but not just, just totally lean on that thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, similar conversations were had 15, 20 years ago when samples started sounding
Yes,
great.
That's true.
And
That's
everybody
true.
was like, well, the live musicians are going to be put out of work.
That's true.
To an extent, there's a lot of musicians that are put out of work because of the extremely low budget films that can't afford the orchestra.
Yes.
They want it all in the box, and you can get away with sounding huge. I think the smaller ensemble you use in a film or anything, you need live. One instrument of each section of anything that invoke that human feeling. But I think you can get away more with a huge epic score with samples than a small quaint score. And that's not saying you should do that. I mean, like if the means are there, get some live.
Yes.
It doesn't, I don't want to say record overseas. It's cheaper or more affordable, not cheaper.
Yes,
It's more
yes,
affordable. But I
yes.
mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is now.
Yes.
But I think the music still deserves some sort of live element. And if money is tight, get a small string session to overlay
That's
your
what we always
synth.
talk about.
Yeah.
And we also did that for some
Yes,
of
yes,
our
and I think
project as well.
I think that elevates the music,
Yes.
and it also keeps musicians, working.
But also, I really enjoy every time when we're doing this, recording session together, and it's just we having some of the ideas that suddenly comes.
Oh, once you hear the live players and what
Exactly.
they bring,
Exactly.
yes,
And we shape a little bit for the score, I mean,
Yeah.
just having some of the different ideas. I still remember, I forgot, maybe it's for Pre-Astra for that movie. And we try, letting them to sit.
Oh, we changed it. That was
Change the seat.
Stu's idea for overdubs.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
The first take sat them in the
Yes.
close chairs.
Yeah.
And the whole
We bring them back a little bit.
put them back in the back chairs.
Yeah.
And it layered nicely,
Exactly.
beautifully actually.
Exactly.
So yeah, coming up with ideas, I think like that enhances the live aspect you add to the score, for sure. I'm not so scared of AI yet as where I am. Not where I am, but where the composers are today working.
Why?
Why? Well, one, we're thinking of stuff. I'm not saying we're reinventing the wheel every time we write a score,
Yes.
but there's a human element behind it. There's an experience behind writing music. I think the AI aspect of it can't pull from the same pool of emotion as a human can. It could probably spit out a version of what a human can write, but I think there is inevitably a connection between a human writing something and an AI writing something. Maybe not everybody can tell, I mean, you see, videos,
Yes.
AI videos, and I would say maybe 50%, if not higher, think it's real.
Yes.
So I think audio is a little bit harder
Audio is a little bit harder.
but eventually it'll get there.
Yes.
But I just think, and I don't know if I'll be able to tell the difference. But I think the back and forth between, at least in scoring for film or scoring for media, there's a back and forth between the composer and the creator of said media, where the music then grows with collaboration. I don't think that's going to happen by somebody entering a prompt and then
Yes.
modifying the prompt.
Yes.
I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. And I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say something about how much resources it takes too for AI to get it done, which is not good for the environment. But as far as the creative side, I also think that directors, writers, creators, whoever is creating the element, they are so true to their art.
Yes.
I'm hoping that they would not want to have AI be a part of
Well,
their work
that's true.
as a final.
Yes, that's true. But at the same time, they do, sometimes there is the budget issue.
Of course.
And
yes.
they never say that you have to use AI. But, sometimes
Well, there's people putting out short films now that,
Yes.
that look really cool. You could still tell that they're AI. But I think it's cheating the art. Mm-hmm. And I think integrity is going to have to be the thing that stops it from happening. And I'm hoping there's enough of that in humanity still moving forward that it can be used as a tool and not as a way out.
yeah. I do agree. Like, let's say in this way, for example, when you're composing, and sometimes, for example, like, at least for my side, for example, when I temp the music, and sometimes I do met with the situation that, like, I don't know what kind. I know the direction. I know what kind of music I should put it in there, but
Right.
it's just, like, I lost my mind that I don't know, from which score that type of music I
Right.
should put it to
Right.
this movie. And I do hope that, for example, if the like AI tools can help me, like I just type in
Oh, yeah. What movie has this type of score? And then you use that as a temp.
Exactly.
Oh, that's just like, that I think is just another form of a Google search.
Yes, just bring me, more ideas.
Right.
And
Not
because-
don't make the idea.
Exactly.
Bring me
exactly.
the
Bring me some more ideas, and like because I didn't watch like millions of the movies.
Right.
I just I just watch, like
Right,
some
but you know the sound you want in your head.
exactly.
And you want to convey that to the composer.
Exactly.
How do I do that? Well, help me find that. And I think
Exactly.
AI use in that aspect, I think.
And I think same from the composer side, like sometimes when you want more ideas, maybe you can also, type some of the keywords.
I wouldn't even know, like if when I write and I want to write, oh, I think this would be a great section for like a John Williams type of run or something.
Yeah.
I don't like, it would be the same as if I'd opened up one of his score books.
Yes.
Be like, how does he do his runs?
Yes.
So I guess it's the same sort of way of thinking, is get me to what I want to be able to do
Yes.
faster.
Yes.
So that use of AI, I think, would be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, because if everybody just using AI for their final things, then eventually, what I think is everybody gonna sounds the same.
Yeah.
Because it's all AI generated, and then AI learning from all of the human beings' work
Right.
as well.
Yeah, but I think the biggest caveat will be the input from the other creatives on the team, whether it be music editor, director, music supervisor. It's just, and that those four minds working together are not going to be able to, or no, the four minds working together are going to be able to do what an AI can't do.
Yeah.
So, and I think when a film score is put together in the end, it's because it works so well, it's because of those different minds collaborating.
Yes.
And I think maybe, like you were saying, like the no budget, low budget stuff.
Yeah, I think gonna be.
They feel like they need to
by
rely on that.
Yes.
But honestly, to me, that's laziness. I mean, like,
It is.
there are so many composers out there, so many.
Yes.
You would be able to get somebody to write you something original for a low cost. I mean, when I was coming up, I was working for pennies just to get the credits.
Yes.
So I think using AI to get your score for your AI film, I think it's lazy, because that's at least one aspect you can get a human to do, and it will sound good because of the quality of samples these days. I mean, there's going to be a step where the humans are affected, I think.
Yes.
Like, because if you're using all samples on something, then yes, live musicians are.
Yeah.
But yeah, and using a final score that is AI, that's lazy.
But I just think that it comes to everyone that we have to be good enough to be not be replaced by
Oh,
AI.
right. I think part of that is the mental aspect of the relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I think people who love the art will be good and will continue to get good. They should be
Yes.
learning as they go
Yes.
at every stage of their life. And I think humans are always going to be one step ahead of AI, because AI can only learn from humans. I don't think.
Oh,
I mean,
maybe one day.
who knows? I hope not. If AI learns from humans, humans progress at a rate that I don't think AI can
But
catch
if
up
human
with.
getting lazy, then
Well, then human
we
intelligence is not
cannot
going to-
making even more progress. The saying like human beings is like really creative is because we really try more things and
Right.
always
Try more and different and.
exactly. But if we learn, for example, I saw one of the reports said, I'm worried about my kids because, they're using DeepSeek, they're using ChatGPT every day.
Right.
And what they're learning is, everything is generated by AI. So all of the knowledge that from them is actually provided by AI.
Right.
And if, but when we grown up, actually we didn't come from that generation.
No, we had to search for the knowledge and
Yes.
learn the knowledge
Yes.
and study.
Exactly.
So humans
think
probably will
is-
be getting dumber.
Is still like stay foolish, and then like we eager to learn more. I think that's the way.
Yeah, and I think that's going to, it depends on the audience, and it depends on, because you tell someone a score was all AI, I don't think the average audience is going to know. And that's the scary part, because the general audience is what pays to go see the movies, pays to buy the merchandise, pays to buy the streaming, all that. So, and of course, a big, huge company, they're thinking about money.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like, I don't think it's close, but it's going to be tough.
Yes.
I think there are
going to be even more.
Yeah, there are elements that I think will save us,
Yes.
but it's not going to be easy.
No.
Especially when the
No,
money,
it's
the
not
people who
gonna
are
be
making
easy at
decisions are not creatives and not at all caring about the thing that makes them money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, on that note,
But it moves me. Just a few days ago, I went to Disney Concert Hall, and I saw John Williams,
oh, lucky, nice.
94 years
Oh,
old.
right. Did you take a picture of our video?
Yes.
And the wheel-
94 years old, and he's still writing. The next
Yeah. Steve's
movie.
Yeah.
I do believe he's still using the pen.
Oh,
for
I'm sure.
writing.
Pen and piano. Yeah.
Exactly. Every single note.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best part, to encourage everyone, especially me, that, like we have to, just try even more harder and just
To go back to the roots of how things
Yes.
are done.
Yes.
Yeah. I think essentially with all the projects I write for, that's sort of how it starts.
Yes.
Because you have to have a melody and you have to have a chord structure.
Yes.
And then you just build everything around that.
Yes.
I'm guilty of, having the sounds inspire me sometimes for melodies and stuff, which I think is harmless. But I think the melody, regardless of what sound is being used for the melody, whether it be horn, strings, whatever, the melody's got to be good.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think the rawest way to do that is with a single instrument
Yes.
and writing the notes down.
Yes.
And I'm lazy. Sometimes I don't do that. And there you go. That's a
Are
laziness.
you having the meeting
right. Yeah.
and you play the chords all the way there?
Yeah. Yeah. So laziness creeps in with every aspect of the process. And you just have to stay vigilant and, stay true to, how it should be done.
Yes.
So I don't know.
I don't
So-
know as well. But I do, I'm really, because, I always want to learn new things every day.
Yeah.
And that's why, I try to learn something from Suno.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I learned a lot of things from you guys as well. And it's
I don't
just
know what. But
and
what is that exactly? I'm just kidding.
also a lot of things from live musicians.
Yeah.
And they always bring different kind of perspective
Yeah. Yeah.
to the score, and that's the best part. That always remember that when we're having the recording session and we all at the different time zone
Yeah.
and sometimes it's midnight, but everybody is just drinking tons of the coffee, but we still super excited.
Yeah,
After so many months hard working, and finally at the stage and recorded our music.
Yeah.
And especially finally it's released in the movie theater. We just you feel excited.
Feel the excitement. The recording. Sometimes like with recording sessions, it's a great moment and process in the whole scheme of things. But it starts off awesome, and then I get anxious about getting it all in.
Yes.
That
Yes.
then you start not cutting corners, but you're not able to do certain ideas. You sort of have to stick to it, unless of course it's like a Paramount production and they're just willing to throw the money at you.
But last question is, for some of the graduates or for someone that really want to, step in this industry, what tips that you want to give it to them, especially in this period of time with tons of AI technology, like everything, like what you want to tell them?
I think, well, if they're graduates of a music school, they're going to know their music. They're going to know, which is a huge tool to have. I'm not saying you need music theory to write music, but the knowledge of it definitely helps. Figure AI out. Don't use it instead of something. Use it with your talent.
Yes.
And never submit anything that is AI. If you do say this is even like with mock-ups, I mean, people know you don't have a 60-piece orchestra in your studio,
No.
and you submit these things for review. They know it's synth. So I mean, I think if you submit something with AI in it, whether it be an AI voice or an AI instrument, it's just part of the mock-up. I think it's fine. But don't let that be the final, And another tip is, I mean, Cris and I were talking about this in our first episode, is, just relationships.
Yeah.
Make relationships with one thing that I kicked myself in the butt for, that I wish I did, was I was not against, but my idea was to, why do I want to be friends with other composers
Yes.
in the composer circles when they're all trying to do the same thing I'm doing?
Yes.
I want to be friends or make relationships with directors and producers, guys that
Yes.
are doing independent films. That didn't work out as well. I mean, a lot of the guys I had good relationships with either quit the industry or other stuff happened to them. Like, a lot of the relationships just dwindled. Now, later on in my career, I made friends with a lot of composers.
That's true.
And then when I started, working with Lauren's team, I met a slew of composers that were working with him on and off. And it was one of the best things that has happened to me musically. And I mean, it's later on in life, I'm not a young composer anymore. So I think getting a circle of friends
Yes.
of composers, because you feed off each other.
Yes.
If
Yes.
they're giving 100% on something and you're not, I think witnessing somebody else bust their ass in the same seat you are in is going to make you
So
do the same.
agree, yes.
And it's just the ideas, the inspiration from each other is unmatched. You can't get anywhere else. And yes, the field is flooded with composers,
Yes.
but it's up to you if you go somewhere.
Yes.
So yeah, that's one thing I suggest young guys do, or young people do if they're coming out of school, is stick. Because I know you make friends in school that are other composers. Stick with those friends, because the circle of friends that are composers, I think will lend itself to more relationships. Because if they become friends with a AAA composer or
Yes.
something, they get work under them, and they could bring you on, or vice versa. I think that's one key aspect that I stress.
Let's help each other.
Yeah, exactly.
way.
My ego got in the way back then, where I'm like, I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to struggle and make a living and get gigs. I mean, I worked for a composer early on. It wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. So I was going to go off on my own. I did. And I would say, obviously, I'm successful. I made a living out of it. But I wish I had made those
Yes.
relationships earlier on with other composers.
Yes.
Because they're all great guys.
Yes, they are.
And I love talking with and hanging out with the guys that I've met through Lauren. Yeah, so, I mean, I suggest that.
Thank you.
So, yeah, we good? That good?
We good.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching this special episode of Q&A Composers Unplugged with Fei Yu, music supervisor and music editor. Thank you.